Awesome. I'm live here with Mr. John Sinclair. We haven't done one of these in a long time there, John. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's great doing this. I love doing these things.
Awesome. Well, so maybe what we'll do is we'll do a quick update of everything here at Seven Movements, let the folks know sort of what's coming down the pipeline, and then we have a whole bunch of questions from the ambassadors that we're hoping to cover today. But the big update here at Seven Movements is our platform has gone live as of Friday, which is really exciting for us. So you can go over to sevenmovements.com and sign up and get a membership anytime you want now, which is really exciting. We had our launch party on Thursday night. Thank you to all of you that showed up for that. We've got a whole bunch of cool stuff to talk about in the pipeline. But John, I thought, why don't we get to the Q&A right away, and then we can dive into some other stuff at the end of the call.
Sounds good.
Let's start with one of the big questions, and I'll jump in after your answer here. A lot of the ambassadors are asking, why are we offering a 90-day membership to the Seven Movements platform and not a 7-day or a monthly membership?
Great. So the reason why we wanted to go with 90 days as opposed to like monthly or weekly is that in order for anyone to really start to adapt to behavior change, it takes some time. So we just thought like 60 days probably isn't enough. 30 days certainly isn't enough. And so, research tells us that after about 99 days of following a specific habit, that now we start to become those habits of integrating exercise back into your life will now start to become more present in your lifestyle. So we decided to go with quarterly payments as opposed to doing anything monthly. And we aren't the first organization to do anything like that when it comes to membership and behavior change, but we certainly realize that it's different than what your typical payment plans are. But we just knew that if you do this for 3 months and commit to that, then you'll be well on your way to building a streak and engaging and retaining the outcomes that come from doing Seven Movements daily. So
awesome. And I should mention, if you're on Facebook or YouTube right now, you can put some questions in the chat. We'll try and get to those if anybody has any questions. But just to layer on top of what John was saying, it's like part of the reason we chose a 90-day membership, and it's an all-inclusive membership. So when you get a membership to Seven Movements, we wanted to make sure you had access to everything that we build and everything we're building in the future. But the main reason really is we want everyone who ends up on our platform to be successful. In order to be successful with microdosing movement, you need to build consistency and build a habit. And if you can move with us every day for 90 days, even if it's just a minute at a time, you're in a really successful movement habit and have a lot of success on our platform and feel a lot better. So I think that's really the reason we chose that. It could change in the future. We don't know. But right now, we're pretty headstrong on the idea of ensuring everyone who is joining our platform knows that we're trying to set them up for success. And that success means you need to be with us for a while and build a little consistency. So excited to have you join us. Those daily dose programs are really cool. They're 1 minute of movement 7 times a day. And if you do that over 90 days, you will be astonished by how good you're going to feel and the impact it's going to have on your overall movement ability and health. Is that fair, John?
Beautiful. Beautifully said.
Awesome. Okay. Next question. This is a really, really good question. A couple of our ambassadors have brought up why do we have ground to stand exercises on the platform? Isn't like discouraging for potential people who maybe can't get from the ground to standing up. But I know you have a really good justification for this, and I'd love for you to share why that's a big part of some of these programs.
Yeah, a great mentor of mine, Paul Chek, used to say, if you can't do something, you probably should. And so our justification is if you have troubles getting to the ground, that can lead to much more detrimental challenges in the future. So we do know that your capacity to be able to get to the ground in a controlled way is one of the most essential skill sets needed for preventing falls, as well as having the mobility and the capacity and the strength to be able to get up off the ground in a variety of different ways. Because there's all kinds of times when we feel that we cannot get up off the ground and you're helpless and you feel like you need help, somebody else's help to get you off the ground. So just in terms of building independence and building the skill set around being able to get up in a variety of ways, like the programs that we build are built on along the idea that we need to get better at this specific skill. And so what you do in your 40s is going to impact how you move in your 50s and 60s and vice versa. So start building that skill set of being able to get up in a variety of different ways, so that when you do hit your 70s, your 80s, and your 90s, you have the capacity to be able to tolerate the stress that comes from gravity trying to push you to the floor.
And what would you say, John, to some of the users who that say they're just starting out and they can't quite do the exercises exactly as they're seeing them in the videos initially? What's your advice to them?
Yeah, as it relates to ground to standing, the cue is really simple. It's stand up, right? And if that means you need to go over to a piece of furniture to help guide you to be able to prop yourself up on, or use a chair, then that's what we want, because the body is going to start to get stronger, but also start to learn how you're going to manipulate yourself against gravity. And so it may not look exactly the way I do it, and that's okay. I don't expect everyone to be able to have the same movement capacity that I have or that you have, but our goal is to get up, right? And so if it looks a little different than what I'm doing, that's okay. Eventually the body will find the most efficient and economical way to get the task done. And that in itself is biomechanics. So the cool part about it is if you just keep practicing and keep working on that daily skill multiple times throughout the day, like we've set up in our microdose, you will get more efficient and effective at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the consistency part we're talking about, right? Is
Got it.
The more often you do something, the better you're going to get it. And the cool thing about some of those daily dose programs, you're getting 7 unique movements every single day. That if you do that every day, that's 49 unique movements every week and 200 unique movements every month. You're going to improve. Like, your skill is going to improve in those movements. So do your best, follow along with John. And if you can't get as low as John goes, don't go as low as John goes initially. Work towards that. So yeah, that's been one question that we've had coming in. The other big one, and it's not so much a question as people just looking for your thoughts on why we chose 1-minute exercises and 7-minute exercises, and so what's the difference in your mind as the programmer?
So what we did in the platform is we did in those doses of 1 minute at a time. It was something that somebody would be able to do over a very micro-dosed time period, and just working on that one particular skill, and then repeating that seven times, or having 7 individual different skills that you would do throughout the day. In the 7-minute videos, what we did is we wanted to make it a little bit more of a almost like a teaching component. So being like, we call it coaching led through those movement patterns. So that would be me scripting an actual outcome over a 7-minute time period for a particular cause or a particular reason, and then me coaching you through 7, anywhere from 7 to 8 or 9 exercises in that 7-minute period, to help you feel like you're getting a particular outcome as opposed to just working on the skill of one particular activity. Anything else you'd add, Dan?
Well, I think the only thing is, like, I like to distinguish between the daily dose programs, which are our 1-minute doses of movement. I like to call those like your exercise vitamin, the kind of thing you do every day to supplement your health and and break up stagnation and do all the cool things there. And then the 7-minute programs are in something we call toolkits that are they're not necessarily outcome based, but they're more coach led, and they lead you to that bird is distracting. Do you have a little slingshot or something?
Yeah, my pellet gun. That's blue jays are super annoying.
Don't do that. That'll get us into all kinds of hot water. So we better not harm any animals in the making of this live. But yeah, back to the toolkits. Those are like self-selected 7-minute sessions that you can do. You find some that you enjoy or make you feel better in the moment, and you follow along with the coach, and you just do 7 minutes of movement with them. I've been really enjoying the Sandbell program myself recently. And then a lot of our users like the Pain Free in the Office toolkit, because that one's really directed at very specific pain points that you might be feeling in the moment. All right. So I'm bringing up the next question here, John. I think one question that we're getting quite a bit, and it's not necessarily come from the ambassadors, but it's a question we get all the time. I'd love for you to answer it, is, can 1 minute really make a difference? Can it really actually help me get healthier?
Well, 1 minute is certainly more effective than no minutes. And so I've been playing around, even just with myself, playing around with different micro doses frequently throughout the day. And what I have found, even for myself, who's somebody that exercises all the time, is I'm seeing improvements, not only just my physical fitness, but even just the level of strength that I have. And a lot of it comes down to, if you think of it in terms of practicing a skill as opposed to following an exercise program, then the more efficient you get at a particular skill only happens when you practice it more frequently and consistently, right? So if you thought of anything from a skill like shooting a hockey puck, you could do 60 minutes of shooting pucks once a week, or you could do it frequently throughout the day and it would enhance your skill set. As it relates to exercise in a particular way, we have one of our exercise physiologists that works alongside us, Dr. Martin Gabala. He wrote a whole book called The 1 Minute Workout. And he centered his research around what would happen if we did vigorous activity 60 seconds at a time. And they saw cardiovascular improvements from all the research that he's done. So is it an effective strategy? Yes, absolutely. The challenge that we have in the fitness industry is oftentimes what is being prescribed to people that don't exercise very much is that the total dosage of activity that people are doing tends to be far too much and too intense for them. So the benefit of doing something at 1 minute is everybody can do anything for a minute, right? And if you do that more frequently, you're going to get positive adaptations over time. Like you said, if we did 49 1-minute doses throughout the entire week, then that would be the equivalent of doing a 49-minute training session one time a week. Well, there's some people that don't even work out once a week, right? So the other thing is what it does to your biology. If you're doing a vigorous dose of activity every single day, 7 minutes at a time, there's a massive impact that comes from that as well. So if we just look at taking a macro dose that we would typically see in a fitness class and we break it down into smaller components, biology will adapt based on the stress that you provide it. So the trick with it that they found in the study is to move vigorously. Well, we've done something a little bit more robust in that we don't expect everybody to have the tolerance to be able to exercise at max effort 7 times a day for 1 minute at a time. Instead, what we did is we built a readiness score that will allow you to determine what tolerance do I have for exercise today. And then based on my tolerance, it will either green light me to do higher intensity efforts and more challenging exercises that we've pre-programmed in our platform. And then if you have somebody that's really if you're having a real tough day and you don't have a lot of energy and you didn't eat well, our score will tell you what to do to help build your energy back up. So we have different programs that are set based on your tolerance for stress that day. So the thing that I love about it is that it starts to build a habit towards moving intentionally to try to improve a skill set, so that eventually you will have the motor skill to be able to add more capacity or add a higher dosage of exercise over time. So if you stick with this for an entire year, I guarantee you going to a fitness gym is not going to seem as intimidating, because you're going to have the skill set and you're going to have the wherewithal, and your biology is now adapted to be able to tolerate shorter bouts of stress.
Yeah, it's a really good way to put it. I mean, one thing I've noticed with the microdosing is when I do it, like you say, for the entire week, every day, I can tell my skill in those movements improve. And you can move as hard as you want, right? Like there's sometimes I want to move and I'm just more flowing. And then there's other times where I'm just like, yeah, that's like, I need to get a burn on here a little bit and get some energy. So that's comes into a bit of the self-selection process. And then the other thing I'll mention is the other significant health impact that comes from microdosing movement and moving frequently throughout the day is just literally breaking up the stagnation that you're experiencing. Well, most of us are experiencing throughout the day. I sit for a lot of my day. I get up and move around as much as I can, but there's a lot of us, our jobs tie us to our desk, and just breaking up that stagnation has some significant impact. Maybe you can speak a little bit to that, John.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the author and the scientist from NASA that did this, but her name's escaping me right now. But they looked at the effect of just standing up from your desk and the impact that had on bone mineral density over time. So that they would just set a clock and they would get up if it was on the hour, every hour they would get up and they'd stand up from their desk, perform a few squats, and then sit back down and go. And they saw a massive change in what happened, not only in their performance level, and at work, but even just what it did from a bone mineral density standpoint. Because when you move your body against gravity, there has to be a biological change that happens from it. And when we sit for long periods of time, you're literally decaying your body. So that's how important movement is to break up, as you said, to break up stagnation. It is crucial not only to improving your cardiovascular health, but improving your skeletal health as well. So it's something that I think more people should be doing more often. If you know people that are have a sedentary job, then 7 movements might be the as I say, it's like the cure to all things desk jockey, right? We are counter straining the effect of having to sit at your desk all day long.
Right. Yeah. No, I think I've always said there's like 2 sort of core groups of people that really, really get the most out of 7 movements. And those are folks who are sometimes just starting out or looking to get started. And then there's that second group they're active people already, but they work that office job that just doesn't allow them to be as active as they want to be throughout the day. So our platform can really help with that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the programs that exist today on the platform. And then John, the question is like, what's in the pipeline? What are you working on that's sort of coming down the pipeline? So right now for our daily dose programs, we have 4 of them. When you first register, you select one of them. When you're joining, we have an equipment-free daily dose. It's pretty self-explanatory. You don't need any equipment with that one. We have a dumbbell daily dose, which I really, really like. So if you've got a set of light dumbbells at home, you can use that. That's going to deliver 7 1-minute doses a day. And then we have 2 disease state programs. One is for people with Parkinson's, a daily dose program for people with Parkinson's, and one for folks with type 2 diabetes. So those are our 4 daily dose programs we currently have on the platform. And then as far as toolkits, those 7-minute sessions I was talking about before, we have a pain-free in the office toolkit. We have a Parkinson's disease toolkit. And then we have 2 more, I call them like almost more like robust programs with the Liebert equalizer bars. and the Hyperwear Sandbells. And we have programs that are centered around either cardio, mobility, recovery, or strength. And you can select those to put those on your player as well. I think Sandbell is probably my favorite program, John, for me personally. I enjoy that one the most. But yeah, what's in the pipeline? Like, what are you working on? I know we have a few things coming very soon, but I think it'd be fun for the ambassadors to kind of know what's coming.
Yeah, we have some work-related population-specific programs coming, one for nurses and one for truck drivers. We have one for successful aging, so falls prevention for successful aging. And then I'm also working on a multiple sclerosis program as well. So that's going to be our next disease-specific program that we've built.
Cool. From a programming standpoint, what's the difference of when you're programming for, let's say, just, regular Joes versus someone who has a specific condition?
When you have somebody that has a specific condition, whether it's chronic pain or somebody that's suffering from Parkinson's disease or multiple sclerosis, there are specific symptoms that people suffer from as a result of adding more physical stress to the system. So when you have somebody that has Parkinson's, for example, not only does their energy change throughout the day, but so does their posture throughout the day. And so the goal is trying to find the right dose of activity that helps them deal with their symptom, but also doesn't wear them out. And so the tricky part with that is trying to time the dose of exercise with that particular symptom, and then trying to find unique ways in which you can alter the biological or the neurological response as it relates to that particular disease. So, for example, with Parkinson's, if an individual has a tremor, there's ways in which we can stimulate the vestibular system and stimulate the sensory system as an activation strategy before doing some exercise. So that's what we've put into our toolkits. With multiple sclerosis, for example, one of the common complaints that people with MS have is that just their energy fluctuates throughout the day. So, and each person, a specific bout of exercise can trigger long-term consequences as it relates to not only just their nervous system activity, but also their energy and what they feel like they have a capacity for later in the day. So the trick is trying to find out what is that right dose for people. And more often than not, if we have smaller doses of activity throughout the day, that seems to be very favorable for Parkinson's disease and multiple sclerosis than us just hammering you with a ton of volume and a ton of intensity in the activity. So I've heard lots of stories of people with MS go and hire a personal trainer and they get put into the construct of, well, a personal training session is 60 minutes long, when on that given day, they might only be able to tolerate 10 minutes of exercise. So the one thing that we've done in the past is we contact organizations like the Michael J. Fox Foundation, Parkinson's Canada, and we do focus groups with people that actually have the disease, and then ask them specifically, what things do you feel you're not getting from the typical exercise environment and exercise prescriptions, and then how could we offset that and be a greater value to you? And so we gather a lot of information before we build these programs. This isn't just John thinking up exercises for people to do for these diseases. It's really working with practitioners. We're working with a practicing neuroscience who his focus is in Parkinson's at the University of British Columbia, Dr. Daryl Weil. We're working on him on building a research study on that right now. So it's one of the things that I like to think of it as is it's going to be a customizable personal experience for you in the form of microdosing, but you are self-selecting what that dose is going to look like each day based on what you can tolerate. And so it's the easiest way that we can scale a strategy, different techniques, and organize them into a program prescription that matches your capacity that day.
Awesome. I think that is that was the last of the questions from the ambassadors, outside of one, which was kind of interesting, and I know you like this one, is that it said, ask John what his most frustrating thing he has to deal with in the fitness industry is today.
Just one?
Just one. You have to pick one. We'll do a whole episode on all of the things, but let's just say, like, what's relevant right now in your mind on that?
One of the biggest challenges is just that we don't customize experiences for people based on where they are and what their tolerance is. Like, it's just like we build programs, and then we just absurdly believe that anyone can just jump in and do this program. And right. So, which is weird, because like a lot of the fitness industry is driven around group exercise, with the intent that I'm going to build a program and everyone's going to come and do this one group exercise. And it becomes this thing where you're making a massive assumption that A, people have the movement ability to be able to do it. B, they can tolerate the forces that come from that particular exercise. C, the environment is even built for them, that they can even perform in that environment. D, that they're going to feel psychologically safe and secure. Maybe that should be A. To even be able to function in that environment and feel like they're getting the attention that they deserve in order to be able to do that. Like, if any person ever came to work with me one-on-one, I certainly wouldn't just write something up on the board and then expect them to be able to do it without having any idea of what their capacity is. And so the only way we were going to be able to scale 7 Movements was to take some of the most important things and organize them in such a way that somebody has the power to self-select what they feel that they can do that day, and do it in a small enough dose that they can feel successful at improving at a particular motor skill. And I think that's where we stand apart from a lot of the programs that are available online, virtually, or even in person, is that we give you that layer of what would I do as a personal trainer for you, knowing that I'm not quite sure what you can tolerate that day. You would dictate what that outcome is, not me dictate the outcome and then deliver it right en masse. So I think that would probably be it.
No, that's great. And I think, like I said, we're going to be bringing back Coach's Corner in the next week or two. So that'll be, hopefully we'll be able to dive into more topics, more of the exercise industry itself, where some of the challenges may lie, where the collaborative opportunities may exist. And yeah, I think we're excited. If you're still watching us here, I see you got a question on how to become an ambassador. You can just message me, Dan at 7movements.com. I can walk you through that process. And we can start to sign you up, and you become an advocate for what we're doing. So that process is pretty easy. And yeah, hit us up on any of the socials. I see we got a few people watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. You can get a hold of us anywhere there. This session was in particularly answering some questions that we had from our ambassador group. So if you're an ambassador and we didn't answer your question, hit us up with another one, and we'll be sure to do another one of these to cover it. And yeah, we're looking forward to bringing back Coach's Corner here in the very near future, in a new exciting format. So any parting words there, John?
No, thanks so much for people tuning in and being patient with us. Building a technology platform as robust as this takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of snags you run into, and just want to thank our technology team, our marketing team, and everybody else at 7 Movements to get us to this point. And then, of course, I'm following us for so long that has stuck with us and supported us. And we're so happy that you did. And we're so fortunate that we can make this crazy company that Dan and I organized more than a decade ago starting to finally get to the point where we can reach people at a different level, and hopefully pave the way for what microdosing movement looks like and how we prescribe exercise in the future. Because I think it's time we question why we've done what we've always done and left everybody that didn't fit into that prescription off to the side and just said, well, you can't exercise, I guess, because it's not a fun environment for you. So it's pretty cool that we can bring the gym to their living room, or the laboratory to their living room, as we say, and to be able to reach out and help folks in a more meaningful way is everything we've always wanted to do. So that wouldn't be here without your dedication, Dan, and without the rest of the team to be able to do this. We wouldn't be able to deliver this stuff. So thank you to you and to everyone on the team for allowing me to be able to express my talent and my ability to coach. And for us to be able to do what we do every day we're pretty lucky.
Awesome. Thanks so much, John. We will be together again soon on Coach's Corner. So keep an eye out for that.
See you, folks.